Are BC landlords actually in trouble right now? That's what the headlines say today, but rents are softening and not for the reason everyone thinks. I've been tracking the BC rental market and this shift matters. In this video, I'll show you what's really happening and why it could quietly benefit renters and future buyers. Let's go. So how much pressure are BC landlords actually under right now? More than most people realize. And before anyone jumps in and says rents are so expensive, I can't afford this, you're right. Rent is not cheap, but expensive and softening are not the same thing. Here's the easiest way to see the difference. A year ago, if your lease ended, you didn't shop, you scrambled, you refreshed listings on Marketplace, you applied immediately. You took what you could get. Today, if your lease ended, the tone is completely different. There are more listings on the market, units are sitting longer, and landlords are calling people back. That alone tells you something has shifted. And the pressure, it shows up fastest in one place. Those small investor condos, those studios, those tight one-bedroom micro units that were heavily bought during the pre-sale boom. Those units were never built for long-term living. They were built for desperate demand. And desperate demand, it's gone in 2025. That's why you're seeing 5%, 6%, even 7% drops in rent in certain buildings. But the bigger signal, it's not price, it's incentives. We're seeing 1 month, 2 month free parking, discounted first year rent. That is not a strong landlord market. Now here's where most people get this wrong. They think this means the rental market is collapsing completely. It's not. What actually is happening is leverage is shifting back to normal now. And that's healthy because for the first time in years, renters can walk away. And when renters can walk away, panic leaves the system. So why is this happening? Because BC isn't technically in one housing crisis, it's in two completely different ones at the same time. We underbuilt what families want to live in, those townhomes, the duplexes, the family-sized homes, but we overbuilt what investors wanted to own, those tiny condos, optimized for spreadsheets, not for life. Those units only work when demand is frantic, and that era, my friends, is over. Builders slowed family housing years ago, but investor condos kept coming. So today, we have scarcity where people want to buy and excess where investors concentrated their bets. And excess always shows up first in rents. This is the first opportunity we're seeing. Renters can negotiate again. People can move without panic. Families can improve their living situation without destroying their cash flow. Now let's add some fuel to the fire, Airbnb. BC didn't gently regulate short-term rentals. It completely removed it basically from a large portion. Thousands of former Airbnbs are now back in the long-term rental pool. That's instant supply. And whenever supply jumps quickly, prices bend, not crash, they bend. That bending is what you're seeing now. The next layer, international students. For years, this group soaked up a small condo near campuses across the province, but federal caps changed that overnight. Enrollment dropped at schools across the province. We're seeing less demand, but the same supply. Pressure shifts again. And then there's the economy. When things feel tight, renters adapt. They move in together, they move home, they delay moves. Every one of those decisions quietly releases units back into the market. None of this makes headlines, but together, it changes everything. Now here's the villain in the story. Headline thinking. The belief that markets move in one big dramatic event. They don't. Markets move like pressure plates, small shifts stacked together until leverage flips. And that's exactly what's happening right now. If you only remember one thing so far, remember this. Relief never comes from interest rates first. It comes from cash flow. And rental softening is cash flow relief. Now here's the biggest structural shift almost no one is talking about. Purpose-built rentals are back. The apartment buildings we stopped constructing decades ago are finally coming online and coming to market now. And these aren't small projects. When one opens, it adds hundreds of units at once, sometimes 200, 300, sometimes more. And these owners, they don't sit on vacancy. They fill aggressively, which means incentives and lower effective rents and real choice. This creates the second opportunity. People stuck in those older buildings can now move into newer ones for less money than they ever expected. Not someday, now. So let's stack everything happening at the same time. We have oversupply of those small investor condos. We have former Airbnbs returning to long-term rentals, lower international student demand, a softer economy, and a massive purpose-built supply coming online. That's not a collapse, that's a reset. Yes, landlords feel the pressure, Vacancy hurts, incentives hurt, but zoom out. For renters and future buyers, this is the first real breathing room in over a decade. Now here's the strategic connection most people miss. Rental markets soften first. Ownership markets follow later. Always, not immediately, but inevitably. This doesn't mean buy tomorrow. It means prepare today. Because the people who win this next cycle, they aren't the ones waiting for headlines. They're the ones quietly fixing the cash flow, reducing their pressure, and strengthening their position. If you have a mortgage or you want one, this one matters for you. Markets don't reward panic, they reward preparation. The next 12 to 18 to 24 months could quietly become the most strategic window in years. Landlords are going to feel the squeeze now, but prepared buyers will benefit later. Once you're done with this one, check out last week's episode where I break down what always happens before a market crash.